Hi, I'm Eddie Conway. Thanks for joining me at The Real News. This is a special edition of Rattling the Bars. I'm down here in the shop with a brother that didn't think he would ever be in the street again. And he's been very successful in opening 2 businesses. He's helping people in the community. So I want to talk to him and find out exactly what motivated him to move beyond prison into the business world and what also motivated him to give back to the people. I'm impressed with your story. Were we ever in jail together?
I don't know.
Okay, I have been in the Maryland House of Correction.
I spent most of my time in Patuxent, like 15 years.
Okay, and I was in Patuxent probably in 2014. You were already home then.
Yeah,
You
I was
came
home,
home,
yeah.
right? Okay, well, your story is fascinating. So if you would you just tell me and the audience here exactly what happened? Just take a minute and go through from the time you were growing up to 17 to just your thing. Could you share that?
Sure. So I grew up in Washington, D.C., Northeast. It's at the time, it's a very violent environment for me. Shootings almost every day. My mom was dealing with a police officer, D.C. police officer, who used to beat my mom up, an abuser. One day he beat my mom up and sexually assaulted her in front of me, and then started stalking our family. And so,
this was when you were 14?
Yeah, I was probably younger than that, actually, maybe like 12 or something like that.
Okay, go ahead.
My mom fell into a depression. I started carrying a firearm for protection, as well as my brothers. My brother was shot a couple times. My cousin was shot multiple times and passed away. They just kept stalking us. They kept coming after us. And eventually people came after me. I was 17 at the time. These people that came after me, they were in their 30s. They threatened me. It was just a crazy situation. I ended up firing a few shots and taking a person's life. And this happened like right outside of D.C. in Prince George's County, and I got found guilty and sentenced to natural life in prison. Yeah, I got natural life.
Put you in the prison system at 17,
at
tried
17.
you as an adult.
Right.
And what happened? I see those first couple of years were kind of rough for you.
Yeah, I met a person who also had a life sentence about the same age as me, who was motivated to turn his life around. He wanted to be a computer programmer. He was studying software, computer code, and just writing it out on paper and stuff. And he eventually became my mentor and just started like tutoring me in math and stuff. And so I went to my cell and I just wrote up this master plan of what I wanted, the person I wanted to become and things that I wanted to do. It was like, high school diploma, college degree, write a book, teach myself Spanish. I wanted a Corvette,
Corvette.
a black Corvette.
Okay.
Yeah. Most importantly, I wanted to earn my freedom one day and return to impoverished communities and create opportunities that I didn't see or have growing up. And so that's what kind of motivated me to do what I'm doing now. But so I ended up doing 16 years in prison. And so I came home just barely getting by, and I got a job.
Well, back up. How did you come home? You had
right,
life.
Yeah, right.
You had life. You've done 16 years. That's certainly not life. What happened?
So 10 years in, let me back up a little further. So part of the master plan, at some point I had got my high school diploma. There were vocational shops. I taught myself carpentry, all kinds of things. And then my friend said, well, that's great.
Is this Edwards?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's great. You helping yourself. He says, but look around you. Look at all these people around here that's just like playing cards or just like talking on the phone. He was like, they could really like benefit from like, your mentorship. And so I was like, all right. And so I started mentoring. I started like tutoring folks, and we just started helping more people. And so as a result, we started a book club. We started a career center. We started a photography business behind the fence. I mean, we just done all these amazing things. Mm-hmm. And 10 years into my sentence.
No, wait a minute. Share a little bit, because, I spent, like I say, a lot of time inside. Right. I noticed when you started the photography business, you raised a lot of money for the inmates and the police stole it. Yeah. What happened there?
It's funny. Actually, it's not funny. But so this was right when digital cameras first came out, and so our accounts was dwindling. the inmate welfare fund account. And so we figure a smart investment will be to take the rest of the money that we had and invest into this new technology, digital cameras, and we could print out the pictures, everything, like it was just a smarter move. And so we did that. We started raising a lot of money for our account, like a lot of money, 20,000, 30,000, like it was just growing. And the administration decided to take our money out of the inmate welfare fund account and then put it into their account and then earmark it for our use. So I was like, that's a little suspicious. Like why would you just move the money? And so I said, well, they might be up to something. So we're going to put in a request to spend some of it, to get some gym equipment, to get like some stuff for the institution. And then when we put the request in, it says, you don't have the money because you spent it. And I was like, no, I didn't. It says, you see these security cameras up here? You paid for those. Thanks. And I was like, and so we were upset about it, obviously. And so we tried to drop the price of the picture ticket so that we just break even and the program sustains itself and they can't like profit off of it. They decided to raise the price. And so I was upset by that incident, but it also gave me a little bit of motivation because it showed me that I can build a business. And so that was a lesson I took out of it.
How did you actually learn this skill, like fixing these things, restoring furniture and whatnot?
Right.
How did that come about?
So I learned in prison in a vocational shop. It was like a woodworking shop that I spent like 13 months in. And you know, I'm a lifelong learner, so I'm always trying to learn things. If I see someone like working on like building this bucket, I'm gonna ask questions. I'm gonna try to pay attention to it. And then if I figure out I can make money by selling buckets, then I'm gonna make buckets. And so like there's plenty of furniture here. This is like a dying trade. Most people don't know how to do this, and like old furniture, you know, people usually keep that in their family. They pass it down. There's a lot of history and stuff behind it, and so it's a lot of money that you can make in this industry. And so it's just an opportunity to, you know, make some money and create some jobs. And I always define myself as a social entrepreneur. So I just came to Baltimore. I came here and just figured I'd set up shop. The cost of living was good, was low. And there was a lot of opportunity, a lot of social problems to tackle, obviously. And I felt like, you know, I could make a difference here versus in DC that, you know, pretty much was gentrified.
I understand in one of your companies, you actually hire people that have been in the system,
Right.
have gained some skills,
Right.
and they're working for you now in
Right.
one of your companies.
Yeah.
Well, what motivated you to hire
Well, I think
offenders?
so. I mean, like I said before, I wanted to create opportunities I didn't have growing up. So oftentimes, growing up, the older folks would say, you need to go out and get a job, or you need to cut some grass and stop sitting around and wasting your time. And I was like, all right, like, who's going to hire me? Like, where's the job at and stuff? And so now I'm in a position to provide opportunities. And so I just, whenever I can, I just try to provide those opportunities to people. And so that's what I do. And I don't necessarily target like returning citizens, but it's mostly whoever needs help the most. So if it's someone that's like they got a good attitude, but they just can't pay their bills.
Show me what you're working on now, and tell me what needs to happen to it in order for this looks good.
Yeah.
Why are you working on these? These are done.
So no, this is nice, but I'm replacing this the fabric on these, and then I'm gonna re-strengthen the chairs.
Oh, okay.
Force distress look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they like. They want you to think like they're old, but they're not old. Very nice chairs. And so I'm gonna replace the fabric and I'm gonna strengthen the chairs. Some of them are wobbling a little bit. And then this is from another client. I'm gonna redo this chair.
Okay. All right. So how long it take you to do, like, say, just one of these chairs, say?
It's one day.
A day?
One day, yeah. We can do all these in a day.
Okay.
It's real simple. It's good money, too.
Okay. All right. Because I have a piano that I'm going to probably have to bring it down here. And you might have to come get my piano. Can you do work in the house? Then the reason why I actually got in contact with you was that I seen your commercial for Bernie Sanders.
Right.
When I wrote the master plan up, I sent a copy of it to my judge. 10 years had went by, and the judge says, I'll let you out, but you have to finish this master plan. And so they gave me a chance. Education was the key path for me to get out of prison. Bernie gets it more than anyone.
And it was an impressive commercial.
Thank you.
You know, but Bernie Sanders had lost.
Right.
So what's your position now?
My position are the issues that I care about. So, for the most part, I try to remain politically neutral. Like I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a student, but issues about education and criminal justice reform obviously resonate with me. Because of education, my education was free. It's changed my life. It has enlightened me to like a lot of different things, a lot of opportunities. It's gave me like the tools and the skill sets to get back to my community and help others. And also the criminal justice system. Like there's so many reforms that need to take place. Like for example, the way we treat like our juveniles, putting them in solitary confinement, sentencing juveniles to life sentences, and just sending people away for 20 years for bags of weed. Like all these things. So there's so much work to be done. And I felt like when I looked at the landscape, that Bernie Sanders was the most qualified candidate who was speaking to those issues. And so I was asked to do it, and my thing was I wanted to make sure I focus on the issues and be as politically neutral as possible. Of course, I had to endorse him. And so like now he's out. It looks like it's Hillary who will be like the front runner for Democratic Party. I'm not a Trump fan at all, but I feel like right now, Hillary's in a position right where she can look at some of these policies and issues that Bernie Sanders is pushing forward. That I think it's an opportunity for her to carry on and push these policies forward. I think it just makes sense, especially with criminal justice reform, education, and stuff like that. I think it's a good move. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to stay engaged?
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to stay engaged, and I also encourage other folks to stay engaged. Recently, even before this primary race, I would advocate down on Capitol Hill and out in Annapolis to try to restore the returning citizens' right to vote in the state of Maryland. And so I was doing that along with an army of folks who were pushing for that. And so I'm proud to say a few months ago, I was able to vote for the first time in my life. Yes. So it was like a good feeling. So I'm walking up in there and they're like, what you smiling for? And it's just like, I finally felt like a citizen. You get out of prison, you work, you're doing your thing, you're paying your taxes. And part of being a citizen is you want to be able to participate in the democratic process. Mm-hmm. And so I was finally able to do that. So it was like one of the best feelings of my life. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Because I noticed also that you're advocating that other people getting out of the prison system should try to establish their own kind of businesses and
Absolutely.
start up stuff so that they can employ this. So
right.
Because
right.
You don't see any jobs out here for
not enough. And honestly, I've been thinking about this. Mm-hmm. Like prisoners are some of the most innovative people in the world. You have nothing but time. You can think about stuff and hash out ideas and stuff. And there's a lot of folks behind the fence that have ideas, business ideas that they can bring to fruition, and I encourage folks to do that. Like it's the best feeling in the world to just wake up and whenever you feel like it, really, and just you got your own operation running, and you have someone over your back and stuff. It's just a good feeling, like to work for yourself, but it does come with a lot of responsibility. But I think it's just it should be an option that's considered by people returning home from prison.
So are you going to stay here in Baltimore? I mean, I know you say Baltimore was like a nice place to kind of like
Someone just asked me that too.
Yeah, are you staying here? What's the deal?
So Baltimore is my base, right? So, mm-hmm. I've been away for a couple of weeks negotiating this book deal and speaking all over the country. Super homesick, couldn't wait to get back. Mm-hmm. I definitely want to travel more, but like this is my base of operations. I actually love this city. I love the people more than anything. Very, very soulful people here. So I like the people here. Like they love their neighborhood. They love this city. Warts and all, right? We love it. And so I don't think I'm going anywhere. I might leave to go to school or something, but I'm coming back. Like, it's too important here. It's too much work to be done.
This has been a special edition of Rattling the Bars, and thank you for joining me.